I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody, here we're looking at two Acer Aspire 1 Netbooks. This one here is I think it's a ZG5. Look at the bottom of it just to confirm. Yep, ZG5 or AOA 150, depending on which one you look at. This one is a model NAV50 or 532H, depending on which one you look at. This one has a Intel Atom N270 CPU. This one has an Intel Atom N450 CPU. This one here I got brand new original in 2008 for Christmas. This one here I got used from a friend because they didn't want any more for obvious reasons. Because these things were just horribly slow. So if you may notice, we're running Windows Vista on this older netbook. So yeah, these things, both of these particular models came with Windows XP pre-installed. But it wasn't long until I removed XP from mine and actually put Windows Vista on it. Matter of fact, I want to say by the summer of 2009, it was late summer 2009, maybe the fall of that year, I went from Windows XP Home, which came pre-installed on it, went from that to Vista Business. I was able to get a license for Vista Business back then, and it's practically Vista Home Premium, but with some enterprise-related features such as domain join and no Windows Media Center. So Vista Home Premium is very similar in nature. I have upgraded this one ever so slightly. I put a better Wi-Fi card in it, and I also maxed the RAM out to 1.5 gigabytes. That was the maximum this could take, I believe. It has 5 12 megabytes on board, and it has a DDR2 SODIMM slot where you can put a 1 gigabyte module in. This one has a 2 gigabyte DDR2 module in it. So originally I had 1 gigabyte, and I replaced it with a 2 gigabyte. Both of these have had the hard drives swapped at some point. Actually, I got a 7200 RPM drive in this one, and I believe it's a 5400 RPM drive in this one. So the hard drive performance on this one's going to be a little faster than that one. But I figured just for the heck of it, we would start this out by doing a restart. Now this one has Windows 10 2004 on it, their latest build of Windows 10. It's pretty much a clean install Windows 10. I haven't installed any applications on it yet. This one here is running on battery power. I only have one charger available because, well, I have 2 chargers, but I can't find a power cord for the first one. So I had to run this one on the charger because the battery in it's pretty much done. Earlier it said it had like 40% battery, and then all of a sudden the thing was shutting off. So yeah, the battery is definitely done in this one. This one, however, it's still got both of these had the factory battery in them. This one, battery is functional right now. I just took it off recently, and it claims to have 4 hours remaining. So that's pretty interesting for a 12-year-old battery. I believe the battery in this one has Panasonic cells in it, so I could explain it. Panasonic 18650s are pretty decent. It's a 3-cell battery, both of them are. So, first thing we're going to do is just shut them both down. See how quick they both shut down. Now, Windows 10, I should mention, has the fast startup enabled. So I guess I wanted to mention the core part of this video is demonstrating Windows Vista on this netbook. Because and look, it's already shut down. It beat it to shut down, and this one's still shutting down. The hard drive activity LED is still active. It comes to show how much it comes to show how bloated Windows 10 really is. A lot of times when you think of Windows Vista, you think of bloated and slow. Well, Vista, now in the beginning, Windows Vista, it was pretty freaking terrible, given the hardware that was out at the time of its release. But I mentioned I did run Vista on this thing for quite some time, for at least a year or two before I did go to Windows 7. And I used this as my daily driver when I was in college. Now, of course, at home I had the Mid-Tower Lux, as many of y'all probably know. But if I was out and about, I did take the Netbook with me. And that was what was so convenient about it, was the size of it. It's so small. Now, of course, we're talking 2009 and 2010, right before of course, before tablets started to really show up, including the iPad. But so yeah, both of them are shut off. Let's go and start them back up. I'm gonna try to start both of these at the same time. The Windows 10 one got a little bit of a head start. Windows 10 fast startup. Yeah, Vista's catching up. And Vista takes the lead. We're at the desktop first on Windows Vista, whereas this one is still booting up. Now, the hard drive activity indicator is not solid, so it's not using the hard drive very hard. So a while back I did do a demonstration of this netbook running a solid state drive, and the SSD did not make for much of an improvement in performance because of the slow Atom CPU. So now back to this one. Since we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about Vista for a bit. Windows Vista, when you look at it in retrospect, I guess it's kind of like that halfway operating system between Windows XP and Windows 7. Vista, of course, brought along a lot of new features, some loved and some hated. Like, for example, user account control. It was ridiculous on Vista. I disabled it on this one, of course, because you couldn't fine tune it like you can on Windows 7. But Vista brought forth a lot of new features, and of course a very interesting looking user interface. As you can see, I have Arrow working on this. Yes, Arrow does work on netbooks. It actually is supported, and for those curious, let's go ahead and look at the properties here and look at the experience index. Yeah, the CPU scored only a 3.0, memory got a 4.5, graphics got a 4.2, gaming graphics got a 2.7, and primary hard disk got a 5.2. With Windows 7, I remember this getting a 2.0 for graphics. And it was crazy. As Windows Vista was really regarded as that operating system that was just so horribly slow. And when it came out, as I mentioned earlier, it was pretty bad. Now, with refinements and stuff, and of course, as you can see, I have a Service Pack 2 installed. With refinements, including SP1 and SP2, it did make for a lot of improvements, and of course, driver support got better. But then, of course, Windows 7 come out. But when you look at this, I mean, Vista actually runs pretty snappy on this netbook. And for example, I'll go and launch Windows Media Center. So yeah, as mentioned, I got this netbook brand new for Christmas, and when I open it, the price was still in the box. So yeah, this thing cost $348 at Walmart back in late 2008. Just to show you how expensive these things were at the time. Now, of course, laptops were very expensive back then. Yeah, although this netbook has a smaller screen, it overall is smaller than this one. Actually, I like the keyboard and touchpad on this one a lot better than I do this one. The touchpad on this one is just, it's just crap. This one's got a really smooth, very responsive touchpad. Although this one's older. I mean, look at how responsive this thing is. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I ran Vista on a netbook, but yeah, it's really. Some of y'all might be in for a kind of a shock, in a way. Like for example, for the games. And of course, Minesweeper, and I'm just gonna click randomly until I hit the wrong one. Okay, so the thing about Vista is, of course, it hasn't been supported by Microsoft for 3 years now. Support for Vista ended in 2017, and likewise, a lot of software vendors no longer support their products on Vista. Like, for example, Google Chrome, you can't get the latest version of Chrome on Vista. Matter of fact, Google stopped supporting Vista before Microsoft stopped supporting Vista. Firefox, they held on a little bit later. Now, supposedly the latest version of Firefox you could run was 51.9 or something like that. And I tried installing 51, but it just wouldn't go. But I had an old installer kicking around for Firefox 24, I think, and it comes to show just how far you can be left behind when your browser is out of date. Like for example, this Firefox looks totally different than what you have on the modern Firefox. Now I remember when Firefox started designing their browser like this, it was definitely a lot different than the old Firefox. So if we go to About, the thing is, when this old version of Firefox tries to search for updates, it will not find anything because, well, the latest version of Firefox does not support Vista, so it thinks that Firefox 21 is up to date, and it's not. Like for example, I can look up stuff on Google. And you can already tell that there's definitely issues with the way the page is loading. Like for example, the search bar does not work unless I click up here. And as far as YouTube goes, in case you're wondering, YouTube does not load properly at all on this. This is what you get. That's it. I mean, if you try to load a video directly from like Google, for example, this is what you end up getting. Oh, your browser does not support this. So, internet browsing on Vista is practically you're practically out of luck. At least from what I can tell. So Vista was definitely not. This is definitely not something you'd want to use as a daily driver anymore. Again, the fact that it runs on this, and I mean it runs well, may be surprising to some of you guys. As mentioned, back when Vista was supported many years ago, there was a time where I was running Vista on this netbook, and it was, in my opinion, it was an upgrade over XP at the time. Now, and of course, most of these netbooks shipped with Windows XP because Vista was regarded as a bloated mess. Now, with the original 1 gigabyte of RAM, it would definitely be a bloated mess. But the 1.5 does help somewhat. Load up Task Manager here. And you can see memory usage is not too awful bad given it's Vista. I guess I'm going to fire up Firefox again, this old-timey version of Firefox. Now, of course, a modern version of Firefox would definitely use more RAM, I'm sure. But, so yeah, as mentioned, Vista. Anytime I run Windows Vista, it's like going back in time. You know, a lot of people hated Vista, and for good reason. Vista did have a lot of issues upon its original release, and Windows 7 was definitely an improvement from Vista. But Windows Vista really was like the last version of Windows to be fully featured with like all the goodies. Now, Windows 10, of course, and Windows 8, they come with all those modern apps. But, like for example, you look here in the Start menu, you have, of course, Media Center, you have the Photo Gallery, DVD Maker, so yeah, Media Center, Photo Gallery, DVD Maker. Those are 3 things that are not included in Windows 10. Now, Windows 10 does include a Photos app, which is, I guess I could say, similar to the Photo Gallery. But yeah, Windows 7, you could get, like for example, the Photo Gallery as a download from Windows Live. But yeah, the simple fact that this stuff was included in Windows Vista. You didn't have to go out and download any Windows Live applications. It was all there. Another example would be, if we just go into all programs here, here's Windows Movie Maker. It's saying, it's complaining about my screen resolution being too small. That's a problem with these Netbooks. So yeah, Windows Vista Movie Maker. Guess what, guys? The video you're watching right now was edited in the Windows Vista Movie Maker. Yes, I run Vista Movie Maker on Windows 10. You see, I'm actually doing a video right now on the Plexi in Windows Vista Movie Maker. It's technically a Movie Maker 6.0. So there you have it. I don't really think there's too much more to really show y'all on here, but yeah, this thing, it runs Vista pretty freaking well, which again could be shocking to some of you guys. Like, it's too bad that you can't run modern software on here. Like for example, I tried to install Internet Explorer 9. I might try it again, actually, and try running it straight from the desktop, see if it'll install. Because Windows Vista comes with, for example, IE7, which is definitely ancient, and so is IE9. But I'm curious to see if it'll install this time. You see, it's wanting to download updates, and that tends to be a problem with Vista. But it might actually do it this time. No, not going to work. Now watch this. If I try to get an update, it's going to launch IE7. I know it's not going to load Firefox this time. And here's another issue that you tend to have with this old version of Firefox. A lot of you get this secure connection failure message on a lot of websites. Now, for example, I want to go check for updates. Now, before I show you Windows Update, I was just going to mention again, Vista was really that halfway design between XP and Windows 7. I mean, you have the Windows XP style taskbar and Windows XP style control panel. Like for example, in XP it was control panel and this, the classic view. And of course they changed that a bit in Windows 7. And the control panel looks very similar to that of Windows XP. So, if I try to check for updates, sorry about that. If I try to check for updates, it's going to fail. It's going to say it couldn't find updates. In the meantime, if I try to enable Microsoft Update, it tries to load this web page in Internet Explorer 7. And since I believe Microsoft has probably taken down the Microsoft Update for Vista web page, it's probably not going to work. As a matter of fact, it didn't work last time I tried to load this. We're still at 84% battery. Again, 12-year-old battery. That's pretty amazing. Battery in this one, as I mentioned earlier, the battery in this one's not doing well. Here you can see it. It cannot display the web page, but it wants enough on to set IE7 as my default browser. Nope. And it's going to keep checking for updates, and it's going to eventually fail. Sorry guys, I'm just now getting over the cold, or so I think it's the cold. I mean, it is 2020. We are in the COVID pandemic. Let's go and look at this one a little bit. So Windows 10. So it's a clean install Windows 10. I haven't really installed much of anything on it just yet. Now what's nice is I can run the latest version of browsers and stuff on here, and I can get updates just fine because of course it's Windows 10. But just look at it. Look at the resource usage on this thing. We're pegged out on the CPU. We're using 73% of the memory, whereas on the old Vista, CPU usage is kind of minimal, and we're using just this much memory. So this one, as I mentioned, has 2 gigs of RAM. This one has 1.5. You can see the background anti-malware service is using 25% of the CPU. I found this process to be kind of crazy on older hardware. This is not the only instance I've seen this happen, where the anti-malware service executable uses a lot of resources. And see, the thing about Windows 10 is it's like it's always doing stuff in the background. Always installing some sort of update, installing a new app, installing whatever. It's always doing stuff in the background, and it always tends to use up lots of resources on especially netbooks like this. I mean, which are very underpowered to begin with. And I think I'm going to do a separate video on this netbook running Windows 10, and I might install Windows 10 on this one just for the heck of it. Or I might do Windows 7 Home Premium or something first. I'm not sure yet. So as you can see, Windows cannot search for new updates, probably because Microsoft may not be supplying updates for Vista anymore. Now, of course, they did stop supplying new updates for Vista, but there you have it. So, using Windows Vista in 2020, I don't recommend it unless you're using it on a computer that's not network connected. Now, if you're just wanting to play games or whatever on this, it would work pretty well. At least I think. See, anyways, we're going to shut this one off. And I am going to focus on I am going to make a different video regarding Windows 10 version 20.04 on this netbook. Because you can see we're just sitting there at 100% CPU utilization. And we only got Task Manager open. Isn't that ridiculous? But yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all are interested in seeing just how well Windows Vista Home Premium ran on this old netbook, and probably are interested to know how much of a resource hog modern Windows 10 is. It's really that bad. I mean, Vista, as I think I've said before, or at least in comments or maybe in videos, Windows 10, at least the modern Windows 10, makes Windows Vista look like Windows XP. I mean, Windows Vista ran excellent on this old netbook here, which has lower specs than this one. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that's it for this video, but don't forget there's a lot more interesting stuff on the channel to check out. Also, if this is your first time visiting this channel, feel free to subscribe to keep your channel, and also don't forget to tick the bell so that way you'll get notified of new video posts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, but if you really didn't like it, there is the alternative option available as well. Also, feel free to check out my second channel, CubeComp MTDX. There you'll find videos about bicycling, weather, elevator tours, and all sorts of other neat, interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to come back, and thank you for your support.